Workout Wednesday 2020, week 31. Can you show the top 10 rank over time for each Olympic country? This week, we took on the Prepping Data and Workout Wednesday challenge. This is going over the Workout Wednesday solution of how you get to the can you show the top 10 rank over time with some Vision tool tips and some extra chart details. So the first thing we're going to go over is the relationship that you need to create for this specific data set. So if I go to a brand new workbook, I have my medalist output. I'm then going to add in my other two data sets. So I'm going to add in my country medals, and I'm also going to add in my host countries. Now I'm going to start with my host countries, so I'm just going to remove this option here. So if I bring in my host country extract, I'm going to then bring in my country medals on a relationship. I'm going to edit this relationship just to make sure it's by year only. I'm then going to have my medalist output, and I'm going to drag and drop that onto my secondary output. And this is going to be computed by year. I'm going to close this, and by country. And then we're just going to rename these so we have them a little bit more computable in the actual Tableau side of things. So I'm going to rename this one. So this is countries, and this is rename that, and this is hosts. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to build that rank chart. So I'm going to drag in my year to my columns, and I'm going to create a calculation which is the medal score. So we're just going to call this medal score, and this is the sum of gold. In fact, it's not the sum at all, it's just gold times 3 plus silver times 2 plus bronze. So this will give us a medal score per country. So I'm going to add that in. I'm going to drag our medal score into our view. We're going to add country to detail, and we're going to change this to a rank. So now we've got our ranks. We're going to change this to a line for each of the countries. We're going to change the compute using to be by country. Now if I wanted to just show the top 10, and I hit Command or Control, drag the sum of medal score, and just say to 10, what this is going to do is if I reverse this axis, is you can see here that there is a line that goes from Cuba all the way to Cuba in 1976, but it actually drops out of the top 10. I want to disconnect those lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this over to my table section so it creates that calculation. So this is our rank. I'm just going to edit this and just make sure that this is a rank unique, not just a rank. Hit apply. So now we have our ranks in our data set. So I'm going to create a new calculation, which is the top 10 rank. So it's basically going to say if the rank is greater than 10, then null, else give me back that rank, and hit end, and then add an end. So now when I hit OK, I'm going to drag this on top of my other rank. I'm going to remove my rank, my filter, and you can see the lines start to disappear. So if I now compute using country, just to make sure, and edit this, and go reverse the axes, you can now see that we have all of our data sets in here. I'm just going to edit this and change this to descending just to make sure. hit OK. We are one missing, but that's fine. We can sort that out at a later date. So we have our lines that are now not connected. The next stage is we're just going to mute those lines a little bit. We want the host country, so I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to create a calculated field which is called host equals country, and then we're going to add the host country equals the country. I'm going to hit OK. And on our secondary axis, I'm just going to put that on to detail, and I'm going to change it to shape, and then actually put it onto my shapes here. But notice how it breaks the rank. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to edit the table calculation, which has gone onto my other screen, and make sure it adds that host equals country in there as well. So you can see we have all our hosts at the top. I'm going to change this to so that our host is a star and our false is just a filled circle. We're also going to add that to size so that our stars are bigger, and we're also then going to add country to colour, so we have a different colour for each one of those countries. So if I dual axis and synchronize, you'll then be able to see the hosts go to the top of each one of these countries. I'm just going to make those a little bit bigger, and I'm going to make the line a little bit thinner. So that is how we did the line chart, the bump chart over time. To get the Vision tooltips, it's just a simple new sheet with for each country, give me the medal count for bronze, silver, gold. And then the top 10 athletes is using the athlete table and then creating the medalist count. So if I just quickly do that, so medalists, and then we want the medal, and we want the sum of medals here. I've put that on rows, and that should be on columns. So let's just let that compute. So we have each one of the medals per athlete. Put that onto colour. And then when we do our Vision tooltip, what we need to do is, let's go onto my other screen. If I insert at the bottom here, insert sheet 2, and I'm just going to change that to 600 by 600. And when I'm going to just filter this athlete to use all and do the top 10 by medalist count. And I'm going to add my tooltip action into context. So now when I go back to my sheet 1 and I hover over, you'll see that each one of these changes based on the top 10 of that specific country and year. The next section is the bottom half of my chart. So we have another chart down here which shows when the country is out of the top 10 and where they specifically rank. So if I create a new sheet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the host equals country onto my rows, but I'm going to change it to an attribute. Nothing happens at the minute because I don't have my detail. So if I add in the host country onto detail, and then add in my country also onto detail. So now you can see we have our countries across there, and I'm going to add year onto my columns as well, so it lines up with the other sheet. I'm also going to do the average of 0, so it lines them all on top of each other. I'm going to change this to a shape and change it to a cross. Now my host equals country is also going to go onto size. In fact, the attribute is going to go onto size instead. And then we're going to create, we're going to hide the falses first off. So I'm going to hit hide, and then untick show header and show header again. I'm actually going to take host equals country off of that, And what we're going to need to do here is we're going to need to create a calculated field to say if, let's create this. So this is country outside top 10. So if the rank is greater than 10, then false, else true. And also we want to say if the minimum of the host equals country and rank equals greater than or 10, then false, else true. Hit OK, and then I'm going to add that to size instead. So you can see that we have some countries down here that are not in our top 10. I'm just going to make sure that's compute using country and just switch those around so we have our bigger crosses here. Just going to change that to red. So now you can see we have our crosses where we need them. The final step was the Visn tooltip to show the top 10 rank. So what I did here was I did the country by year and then the medal score, and I just sorted that so that they were in the right order. And then I added the host equals country to colour. But then I also added a new calculation, which is the top 10 plus host. So we want to say rank is less than or equal to 10, or the host city equals host country. And then, so we want the minimum again of this. So because we can't do aggregate and non-aggregate, hit OK. So I need to add that top 10 plus host onto my rows. But notice how I get some nulls. That's because I forgot a step. In my medal score, I need to wrap each one of these into a 0 null, because sometimes that specific country doesn't have a medal, so it needs to have a 0 next to it rather than a null. So if I hit OK, I now have a lot of falses and some trues. The final calculation would be to have the true false for colour. So the rank is less than or equal to 10, and hit OK. I'm going to add that to detail, then add that to colour. So we can see we have some true trues and false trues. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide these falses. So now I get all of my trues, and I get for 1968, I think it was, we have a true down here, but it was a different rank. So if I add in my original rank and just discrete that, and I add it in here, you can, if I compute using host equals country as well, you'll see that Mexico ranked 15th in that specific year. So now I have my true and my falses. I can use that in a tooltip to get the Visn tooltip for that specific year. Sorry for such a long video. I hope it helps you solve the puzzle. Take care and speak to you soon.